What's happening, guys? Man, it's hard not to be happy riding these classic 125s. We have two of them here, two of a kind. This is early 70s Honda SL125 single-cylinder four-stroke. Many people got hooked on riding on these, and they've stood the test of time. That one right there has had a full frame-off restoration. This one has the original paint, and it's been partially restored. It's had quite a bit of preservation and restoration services. I have a full work order on it. It runs like a champion. We're going to focus on this one on this video, and then we'll do one for that one individually. But I thought it'd be kind of cool to park them side by side so you could see the differences between a frame-off restoration and then an original paint bike like this one here. I guess the thing that I want to talk about first is probably the most obvious, the exhaust on this. This has a megaphone style exhaust. Originally it had a muffler like this one, and very rarely, if ever, will you find one with the original muffler real stock like that. And we'll run this one in the test. You'll see what the difference in the sound is. But it really opens it up, makes it sound a little bit better, gives it a bit of a custom look. Sounds like, remember when we were kids in the XR75s, you put a DG pipe or a Powerall on there or something like that, and they'd sound awesome. This gives you that same rumble. Makes music to my ears. Starting at the back of the bike, ironically, the rear fender is in absolutely mint condition. There's no damage to the rear fender. Usually they're all messed up from getting, backed into in the garage or 12 o'clock in them. The original taillight and the license plate is in mint condition. The original saddle's in good shape too, and the original shocks are intact. The frame was touch-up painted. The Honda Cloud Silver, I believe, is the color. The side covers were repainted, and it has some new 125 logos on there. The original paint on the tank looks good. It's got some character and patina, as you'd expect on a 50-year-old Enduro. But it still has the SL125 February of 71 tag right here, 1971. This bike is 50 years old. The bike has been completely serviced by the techs here at the New England Motorcycle Museum. I think Wizard himself worked on this one. It has brand new tires on it, tires and tubes on the front and the back. The chain has been replaced. It's got a brand new air filter. The carburetor was rebuilt. The valves were adjusted. It's got a new spark plug in it. The gas tank was cleaned out. It went through a major detailing. The aluminum was polished on the engine. You see it's got a nice shine on it. The aluminum forks were polished. The hubs were polished. The spokes were cleaned to the best of their ability. And the rims, original rims. I have the work order. I'll go over it with you. It's the bottom line on the work order was $2,580 for parts and labor. It's not a full restoration. Typically, a full frame-off restoration on a 125 like that starts at about $5,000 for a full nut and bolt restoration like this one has had. So you're definitely better off buying one done rather than doing it yourself, unless you want to spend, a year of weekends and chasing parts and writing checks. It's less expensive to buy one done than it is to do it yourself usually. So the points were cleaned and set on this one here. Again, the valves were adjusted, new spark plug, air box was clean, new air filter, new front tires and tubes, new gold chain, removed carb, cleaned it, put it in the dip tank, put a new battery in it, changed the oil. You might remember, if you've been following us, a video I did, I think it was Memorial Day weekend, like 4 or 5 months ago when this came in. Someone called me, and this one and the other 125 we have listed were on a trailer about 2 miles down the road from here, and the guy that had bought this bike from us actually had decided to resell it along with the trailer. So I went over there and I bought both bikes in the trailer back. The trailer sold instantly as is, and then the bikes we bought them in and did a whole bunch of work to them to bring them to the next level, because that's what we do. So I think I already mentioned the exhaust system. It still has the baffle in the exhaust. It's not an open exhaust. We bought this there's a muffler shop literally right across the street, and they made the tapered adapter to plug into the stock header right here. It's actually welded on. The pipe's bolted on, so the pipe can be changed. We had the 125 graphics made at the sign connection right up the street. And of course the bike was steam clean, hot water power washed. Frame was painted, the side covers. Front fender is a Preston Petty fender. That's not the original fender, that's period correct Preston Petty. Exhaust header was painted high temp black. The hubs, rims, the headlight ears, and the handlebars were all polished. The triple clamps were touched up. Most of the chassis bolts were wire wheeled. So it's super clean looking. Original tank, original paint, classic. Total of 13 hours in a detail shop, 8.5 hours in the service shop. About $500 in parts, miscellaneous shop supplies, and then of course the muffler shop bill and the decals. The total came to $2,590. That's we track the work orders here to show you basically if you bought this to a Honda shop with this exact list of things I just asked you to do, that's what you'd be looking at. You'd be looking at a $2,500 work order for 20 hours labor plus parts, so and supplies. So it adds value, so you know that you're getting a bike that's done. We demonstrate the way they ride and run in the videos. This one starts first kick pretty much every time. It's a beautiful classic. It's not perfect. This one's, if you want one that's perfect, open your wallet wide and buy this one. If you want to buy one that you're going to put on the at the camp and ride it, let the kids ride it, you're not going to be terrified if they dent the original. The exhaust on that bike, that's a $500 exhaust on that bike if you can even find one. The paint job's a $700 to $1,000 paint job. So there's a little bit of freedom in having a bike that's already got a dent in the tank right here, and it's not the original exhaust. If you let the kids ride it and they scratch it or ding it, you're not going to cry yourself to sleep at night. Or if you want to invest less and then work your way up to a world-class paint job and an original exhaust, you can make this bike as good as that one. You're just going to have to spend another $1,500 to $2,000 to make this into that one, but it definitely has a potential to. The odometer is showing 2,396 miles on this one. I'm not sure if that's the original mileage, but it does show really well. The original headlight ears and bucket are in good shape, and the headlight trim is in good shape. Original wheels are intact and pretty straight. So original pegs, brake lever, everything's there. So let me bring her for one. Want to do a drive-by on it? Yeah. Do a little drive-by on it. Just give you an idea of how she sounds ripping down the street. She's these are street legal. They were intended to be enduros, which means you can ride it to the store. So you want to hold the mic while I take it for a little rip. The ignition on this one is a switch. Up is on, down is off. The other one has a key. The original ignition failed, so the previous owner put that on. We didn't want to price this one out of the ballpark here, so some things we left alone with that. But it works fine. Inside the tank's nice and clean. Do a little drive-by. Just a lot of fun to ride, and isn't that what it's all about? Classic Honda from the 70s, 1971. It's going to be 50 years old in a couple months here. Stood the test of time. Surely going to last another 50 if you take care of it. Think about this. If you buy a new Honda 125 or a 250, as soon as you roll it off the floor for $4,000 or $5,000, it's going to be worth half that a couple years down the road. This one here, whatever you pay for it, it's an appreciating asset, and only so many of these survive, so they're going up in value, and they're a hoot to ride. So definitely a highly recommended bike. Reliable Honda. If you have any questions about it, give us a call, 860-454-7024. Thanks for watching, and God bless America.